There was a young woman named Aisha who lived in a coastal city where the ocean breeze carried the scent of salt and jasmine through narrow streets lined with whitewashed houses. She was 24 years old, worked as a teacher at a local school, and had a smile that could light up even the darkest room. Her students loved her because she taught not just from books but from the heart, always finding ways to make lessons meaningful and connecting knowledge to faith and good character. In the same city lived a young man named Omar, 26 years old, who worked as an architect designing buildings that honored both modern functionality and traditional beauty. He had grown up in a family that valued education and faith equally, and his parents had raised him to understand that success meant nothing if it came at the cost of one's principles and relationship with God. Aisha and Omar met in the most unexpected way, at a community volunteer event where both had come to help distribute food to families in need. As they worked side by side, packing boxes and organizing donations, they found themselves talking easily, discovering shared values and dreams. Omar noticed how Aisha treated every person with genuine respect regardless of their circumstances, how she remembered the names of the elderly recipients and asked about their health with sincere concern. Aisha noticed how Omar worked quietly without seeking recognition, how he lifted the heavy boxes so others wouldn't strain themselves, how he made the children laugh with gentle jokes while maintaining appropriate dignity. Over the following months, they continued to see each other at various community events and gatherings. Their conversations grew longer and deeper, moving beyond surface pleasantries to discussions about faith, purpose, family, and what they hoped their futures would hold. They discovered they both loved poetry, both dreamed of making a positive difference in their community, both believed that marriage should be built on mutual respect and shared commitment to growing closer to God. What began as friendship slowly transformed into something deeper. Omar found himself thinking about Aisha during his prayers, asking God if she might be the one with whom he could build a righteous home. Aisha found her heart softening whenever she saw Omar, recognizing in him the qualities she had always prayed for in a future husband: kindness, integrity, genuine faith, and a character that reflected the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. One evening, after a community Quran study session, Omar approached Aisha with visible nervousness. They stood at a respectful distance from each other, people nearby as was proper, and he spoke quietly. "Sister Aisha, I hope you will forgive me for being direct, but I believe honesty is important. Over these months of knowing you, I have come to deeply respect and admire you. I see in you the qualities I have prayed for, and I would like to speak with your father about the possibility of marriage, if this is something you would consider." Aisha felt her heart race, but she maintained her composure. "Brother Omar, I appreciate your honesty and the respectful way you have approached this. I have also been making dua about this matter. I would welcome you speaking with my father." That night, both of them prayed istikhara, the prayer for guidance, asking God to make clear whether this path was right for them. They understood that feelings alone were not enough. What mattered was whether this union would bring them closer to God and help them fulfill their purpose in life. The next week, Omar visited Aisha's home with his parents to formally ask for her hand in marriage. Her father, a wise man who had raised his daughter with strong values, asked Omar about his faith, his character, his plans for the future. He wanted to know not how much money Omar made, but what kind of husband and father he would be, whether he would support his daughter's growth as a person and a believer. Omar answered every question with sincerity, explaining that he saw marriage not as ownership but as partnership, that he believed a husband's role was to be a protector and supporter, helping his wife reach her full potential while they both strive to please God. Aisha's father was impressed, and after consulting with his daughter privately to ensure this was truly her choice, he gave his blessing. The families agreed on a simple engagement period of 6 months, during which Omar and Aisha would get to know each other better in the presence of family, preparing for marriage in a way that honored Islamic principles. They were both happy, grateful to God for bringing them together, excited about the future they would build. But then something unexpected happened. 3 weeks into their engagement, Omar's father suffered a severe stroke. The man who had been strong and healthy suddenly found himself partially paralyzed, unable to work, requiring constant care and medical attention. The financial burden was crushing. Hospital bills, medications, therapy sessions, equipment needed for home care. Omar's mother was overwhelmed, trying to care for her husband while managing the household and dealing with her own emotional trauma of seeing her beloved partner struggle. Omar found himself torn between two profound responsibilities. He was engaged to be married, had made promises to Aisha and her family, dreamed of building a life with her. But his father, the man who had raised him, sacrificed for him, taught him everything he knew about being a man of honor, that father now needed him desperately. One Friday evening, after the Maghrib prayer, Omar went to Aisha's home and asked to speak with her and her father together. His face was drawn with exhaustion and worry, and Aisha's heart ached seeing him in such pain. "I need to tell you something," Omar began, his voice heavy. "My father's condition is serious, and the doctors say his recovery will take at least a year, maybe longer. My mother cannot handle this alone. The medical expenses are more than we anticipated, and I need to work extra hours to cover everything. More than that, I need to be present at home to help with his care, to support my mother, to be the son my father needs right now." He paused, struggling with his next words. Aisha reached for her mother's hand, sensing what was coming. "I cannot in good conscience move forward with our marriage right now," Omar continued, tears forming in his eyes. "It would not be fair to you. I cannot give you the time, attention, and financial stability that you deserve as a wife. I cannot start our marriage by leaving you alone while I care for my parents, or by asking you to shoulder burdens that are mine to carry. I love you, and it is because I love you that I must ask for distance between us until this situation is resolved." Aisha's father spoke before she could. "Omar, we are willing to help. We can contribute to your father's medical expenses. We can postpone the wedding but maintain the engagement." Omar shook his head, fresh tears spilling down his cheeks. "Your generosity touches my heart, but I cannot accept it. This is my family's trial, and we must face it with our own hands and God's help. More importantly, I need to give my full attention to my father's recovery without the guilt of neglecting my responsibilities to Aisha. She deserves a husband who can be fully present, not someone torn between two duties." Aisha finally spoke, her voice breaking. "So you're ending our engagement? I'm asking for your freedom," Omar said softly. "You are young, with your whole life ahead of you. I don't know how long my father's recovery will take, or what our financial situation will be even after he recovers. I cannot ask you to wait in uncertainty. If God wills, perhaps when this trial is over, if you are still free and willing, we can revisit this conversation. But for now, the most loving thing I can do is let you go." The meeting ended with broken hearts all around. Aisha's parents tried to convince Omar to reconsider, but he was firm in his decision. He believed it was the right thing to do, even though it was tearing him apart inside. That night, Aisha cried until she had no tears left. She loved Omar, had already begun imagining their life together, and had made dua thanking God for bringing him into her life. Now he was walking away, not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much to burden her with his family's difficulties. Her mother sat with her, stroking her hair. "My daughter, this pain you feel is proof that his love was real. A man who doesn't truly love you would marry you anyway, use your family's money, and let you shoulder his burdens. Omar is protecting you, honoring you, even though it breaks his own heart. This is the character of a righteous man. But I want to help him," Aisha sobbed. "I want to be there for him during this difficulty. Isn't that what marriage is supposed to be? Supporting each other through trials." Her father, who had been listening quietly, spoke with the wisdom of his years. "Yes, my daughter, that is what marriage is. But Omar is showing you something even deeper. He is showing you that he will not take advantage of your love, that he values your well-being above his own desires, that he fears God enough to do the difficult right thing rather than the easy wrong thing. He could have married you and used your family's resources to help his father, and many men would do exactly that. Instead, he chose the path of integrity, even though it cost him everything he wanted. In the months that followed, Aisha and Omar maintained a complete distance from each other. They didn't call, didn't message, didn't seek updates through mutual friends. It was as if they had made a silent agreement that if this separation was to mean anything, it had to be total. Omar poured all his energy into caring for his father, working long hours, taking on extra projects, managing medical appointments and therapy sessions. He barely slept, aging years in the span of months. Aisha threw herself into her teaching and community work, but there was a sadness in her eyes that her students noticed. She prayed constantly, not asking God to bring Omar back to her, but asking for strength to accept whatever God had planned, for healing for Omar's father, for patience to endure this test of separation. 1 year has passed, then another. Omar's father slowly recovered, progressing from wheelchair to walker to cane. The medical bills were eventually paid off through Omar's tireless work and careful budgeting. His mother regained her strength and spirit as her husband improved. Through it all, not a single day went by when Omar didn't think of Aisha, didn't wonder what she was doing, whether she had moved on, whether she ever thought of him. Aisha, for her part, received several marriage proposals during those 2 years. Good men from respectable families, men with stable jobs and kind personalities. Her parents encouraged her to consider them, reminding her gently that Omar had released her from any obligation. But each time, after praying a stikara and searching her heart, she found herself declining. Something in her soul knew it wasn't time, that her story with Omar wasn't finished, even if she didn't understand how or when it would continue. In the 3rd year after their separation, during the blessed month of Ramadan, Omar's father finally received full clearance from his doctors. He could work again, live normally, required only routine checkups. The family had weathered the storm, emerged stronger in faith and unity, learned lessons about patience and reliance on God that could never have been learned in comfort. One evening, as Omar sat with his father watching the sunset after breaking their fast, the older man turned to his son. "Omar, you have sacrificed so much for me, for our family. You postponed your dreams, gave up the woman you loved, worked yourself to exhaustion. I see the sadness in your eyes and it breaks my heart. Baba, you are my father. There is no sacrifice in caring for you, only duty and love." His father smiled gently. "That is exactly the kind of man I raised you to be. But now I must tell you something. That girl, Aisha, she never married. I have been making quiet inquiries, and she is still teaching, still unmarried, still waiting." Omar's heart leaped. Waiting? Why would she wait? I told her to move on, to live her life. Because real love doesn't vanish just because circumstances become difficult. Because she recognized in you the same character and faith that you saw in her. Because she, too, understands that some things are worth the wait. That very night, after the tearaway prayers at the mosque, Omar approached Aisha's father once again. The older man smiled when he saw him coming, as if he had been expecting this moment. "I have come to ask," Omar said, his voice trembling, "if your daughter is still willing to consider my proposal. I have nothing more to offer now than I did 3 years ago except this. I have learned what it means to carry responsibility with patience, to trust in God's timing, to honor my commitments even when they cost me everything I want. If she will still have me, I promise to spend the rest of my life proving myself worthy of the sacrifice she made by waiting." Aisha's father embraced him. "My son, she never stopped praying for you. Go, speak to her yourself." When Aisha saw Omar standing at her door, 3 years older, marked by struggle but stronger in spirit, she began to cry. Not tears of sadness this time, but tears of gratitude to God for bringing him back, for testing their love and proving it genuine, for teaching them both that distance doesn't diminish true commitment. "I'm sorry," Omar said through his own tears. "I'm sorry I asked you to let me go. I thought I was protecting you, but maybe I was just afraid of appearing weak, of not being the perfect husband immediately." Aisha shook her head. "You didn't appear weak. You appeared noble. You showed me that you could be trusted with my future because you put righteousness above your own desires. Any man can promise love when circumstances are easy. You proved yours when everything was difficult." They were married 3 months later in a simple ceremony filled with joy and gratitude. Their story became known in the community, not because they sought attention, but because it naturally inspired others. Young people learned that real love isn't just emotion, it's commitment tested by trial, it's choosing what's right over what's convenient, it's trusting God's timing even when waiting is painful. Years later, when they had children of their own, Omar and Aisha would tell them this story, explaining that distance doesn't always mean the end of love. Sometimes God creates space between people to purify their intentions, to strengthen their character, to prove that what they feel is real and not just temporary infatuation. "Your father could have married me immediately," Aisha would tell her children, "and appeared to do the right thing while actually taking advantage of my family's help during his hardship. Instead, he chose the harder path of integrity, trusting that if our union was meant to be, God would make it possible in his perfect time." That is the difference between a man who wants a wife and a man who deserves one. And Omar would add, "Your mother could have moved on when I released her from our engagement, and no one would have blamed her. Instead, she waited with patience and prayer, not because she was desperate or had no other options, but because she recognized that some connections are written by God himself, and those are worth preserving even through years of separation." Their love was real, deeper than most because it had been tested by fire and emerged as pure gold. The reason for their distance, which might have seemed like an ending, was actually God's way of preparing them for a marriage built not on convenience or emotion alone, but on faith, integrity, and the unshakable commitment to honor each other and their Creator above all else. This is the wisdom that only difficulty can teach, that only patience can reveal, that only those who trust in God's plan can truly understand.